Wallace Stevens once said something powerful. Human nature is like water. It adapts to the shape of its container. Think about that for a moment. Just like water molds itself to whatever vessel it's poured into, we too, as humans, are shaped by our surroundings. The people we meet, the environments we're in, they all influence how we think and act. And in relationships, this principle is no different. But here's where Stoicism comes into play. While human nature can be influenced, the Stoics believe that we must first master ourselves, our thoughts, emotions, and actions, before we can navigate the world around us. Hey, this is James. In this video, I'm going to show you 7 powerful psychological techniques you can use to influence and attract women. But don't mistake this for manipulation. The Stoics taught that true power comes from self-control and wisdom. So, as we dive into these strategies, remember, the goal is to build positive, meaningful connections, not to harm or deceive. Let's explore how psychology and Stoic wisdom can work together to help you create authentic and lasting bonds. Before we dive in, just take a quick moment to check if you're subscribed to the channel. We've got a series of upcoming videos packed with tips to help you improve your life. Let's dive into the first one. 1. Scarcity creates desire. Okay, let me ask you something. Have you ever noticed how we, as humans, seem to crave what's rare or hard to get? It's like when you see a limited edition item, it instantly becomes more appealing, right? There's something about scarcity that makes us want it even more. Well, this same principle applies when it comes to relationships, especially when you're trying to connect with someone on a deeper level. Imagine this. You're a man who knows his worth. You're not just available all the time. You've got your life together, your goals, and your passions that you're actively pursuing. Now, when someone comes into your life, maybe a woman you're interested in, your time becomes more valuable because you're not sitting around waiting for her to call you. You're focused on your own personal growth. But here's the tricky part. You don't want to come off like you're uninterested or like you're playing some hard-to-get game. We're not talking about acting distant or rude here. No, it's about finding that perfect balance. Let's say you're into fitness, or you're grinding at your job, or you have hobbies that you're truly passionate about. When you pour your energy into things that matter to you, you naturally become more interesting. And more importantly, your time becomes more precious, which in turn makes her appreciate it more. Now here's where it gets interesting. When you're with her, be 100% present. Put the phone away, lock eyes, and listen to what she's saying. Really be there. Not just physically, but mentally too. Make her feel like she's the most important person in the room. That's how you make every moment you spend together feel special. But then, when you're apart, don't just sit around waiting for her to text. Keep doing your thing, whether it's focusing on your fitness, advancing your career, or diving into a personal project. That's how you maintain your individuality. You see, when you're constantly giving her your undivided attention and then pulling back and living your life, it creates this exciting dynamic. She'll begin to look forward to seeing you again because you've created that sense of anticipation. Now, here's where we can bring in a bit of Stoic wisdom. The Stoics believed in living a life of purpose. It's not about playing games or trying to manipulate someone. It's about knowing what truly matters to you and sticking to that, regardless of external circumstances. You see, by living a life that's rich with meaning, your presence becomes something that others value. You don't need to try to force attraction. It happens naturally when you're confident in your own journey. By incorporating scarcity this way, you're not playing games. You're simply living with intention. You're creating a life that's fulfilling in its own right, and in doing so, you draw people towards you, rather than chasing after them. And when you're genuinely living your best life, your presence becomes something she values deeply. That's the kind of attraction that lasts, one that's built on your own purpose and not on playing tricks. 2. Start small, then build up. All right, let's dive into something called the foot in the door technique. Sounds like a mouthful, but stick with me because this is a game changer. Imagine this. You're trying to build a connection with a woman, but you don't want to rush in with anything too big or overwhelming right away. Instead, you start small, like planting a tiny seed that grows over time into something bigger, something more meaningful. Why does this work so well? Well, as humans, we love consistency. We like to think of ourselves as people who make decisions and stick to them. So when someone says yes to a small request, their brain gets a little buzz like, hey, I'm the kind of person who helps out or agrees with this person. And here's the thing. Later on, when you ask for something a bit bigger, they're more likely to say yes again because they want to keep up that pattern. It feels good to stick with their original decision. Let's break this down with an example. Picture this. You casually ask a woman, hey, do you like ice cream? Now, who doesn't like ice cream, right? Most people will say yes to that without hesitation. It's light, it's simple, and there's no pressure. Then later on you can ask, hey, want to grab some ice cream together sometime? Since she already agreed to the small thing, saying she likes ice cream, she's much more likely to say yes to the second request. You've built that trust in small, manageable steps, and she doesn't even realize it. But here's where it gets interesting in terms of seduction. When you start with small requests like this, you're actually creating a natural flow. It's not forced, it's not fake. It feels smooth and organic. Think about it. When you give her the chance to agree to something easy, like a casual question or a small favor, you're subtly making her feel comfortable with the idea of being around you more often. And that comfort is the foundation for deeper attraction. Now, let's bring in some Stoic philosophy here. The Stoics believed in the power of patience and discipline. They taught that to achieve great things, you don't need to rush or force anything. You build it step by step with a steady hand. Just like in relationships, you're not trying to rush the process of connecting with someone. You take the time to lay the groundwork slowly, carefully, and with purpose. It's not about forcing chemistry. It's about creating a space where it can grow naturally. Think about how Marcus Aurelius would approach this. The Stoic emperor didn't rush into decisions. He considered them carefully, taking small, thoughtful steps each day. If you want to build attraction with a woman, follow that same principle. Start small, build trust, and let things develop naturally. Each yes she gives you, whether it's about ice cream or spending more time together, is a step closer to something deeper. So, here's your takeaway. Use this approach to make things flow easily and naturally. Whether it's asking her if she likes something small or finding ways to connect on a basic level, you're setting the stage for something bigger, something that can turn into real chemistry. Just remember, patience and consistency are key. You're not manipulating her, you're building something that will grow. Just like a seed turning into a tree. And just like in Stoicism, the journey itself is just as important as the destination. 3. Stay a little mysterious. All right, let me share a little secret with you. Do you know what people are naturally drawn to? Mystery. We're all curious creatures by nature. The more we can't figure something or someone out, the more we want to dive in and crack the code. Think of it like this. If you lay everything out on the table right away, the mystery disappears, and so does the intrigue. But if you keep just a little bit of yourself hidden, you create a spark, a curiosity that she'll want to explore. Now, I know this might sound a bit strange, but hear me out. Imagine you're an onion. Stick with me here. I promise it'll make sense. Every layer of that onion is like a new side of yourself that you reveal. You don't peel off all the layers in one go. No, you let her peel them back one at a time. The more she uncovers, the more she wants to know. She starts to see a glimpse of who you are, but there's always more beneath the surface. Each new layer keeps the mystery alive, and that keeps things exciting. For instance, let's say you're getting to know a woman. Instead of telling her your life story in one conversation, you share bits and pieces, just enough to keep her interested and engaged. Maybe you talk about a recent challenge you faced at work or something quirky about your childhood, but you don't give away everything. Leave a few things unsaid. Let her wonder, what's next? What's he not telling me? It's all about building that anticipation. When she feels like she's uncovering a bit of your story over time, it keeps the connection fresh and thrilling. It makes her want to stay curious, and trust me, that curiosity will keep her coming back for more. Think about it. If someone shares everything about themselves up front, there's no mystery left. The excitement starts to fade. This is where the Stoics come in. Stoicism teaches us the value of self-control and moderation in all things. In the context of relationships, this translates to not oversharing too soon. It's not about playing games. It's about being wise and measured in how you present yourself. You're not hiding who you are, but rather, you're revealing yourself in a way that builds a deeper connection over time. Marcus Aurelius, one of the greatest Stoic philosophers, often spoke about the importance of patience and timing. He understood that life and relationships unfold in layers. By pacing yourself, you allow those around you to truly appreciate the depth of who you are. So, when you're interacting with a woman, don't rush to tell her everything. Let her discover you slowly. You don't have to be mysterious in a manipulative way, but rather in a way that keeps things dynamic and exciting. Being a little unpredictable adds a touch of charm. It's like when you first meet someone, and there's this invisible energy between you. Part of that energy comes from the unknown. The more she gets to know you, the more she'll be intrigued to learn more. Let me tell you, this isn't about playing games. This is about respecting the process of getting to know each other. It's about letting things develop naturally. And remember, Stoic wisdom is all about balance and self-control. Don't give away too much too soon, and don't withdraw too much either. The art of seduction in this case is about letting the connection unfold slowly, with respect and curiosity on both sides. 4. Master the push and pull technique. All right, let's talk about a powerful technique that's not just about what you do, but how you do it. It's called the push and pull technique, and trust me, it's all about balance. This dynamic is like a game of dance. Sometimes you step forward, other times you step back, creating a rhythm that keeps things exciting. Here's how it works. There are moments when you shower her with attention. You make her feel special, cared for, and valued. You're attentive, present, and showing her that she matters to you. This is the push. You're pulling her in, giving her what she craves: closeness, connection, reassurance. But then, you switch it up and take a step back. You focus on yourself. Whether it's hitting the gym, diving deep into your career, or nurturing your passions and hobbies. This is the pull. You create space, prioritize your own goals, and let her see that your life isn't just about her. Now, why does this work? It works because of unpredictability, something that human beings, especially women, are naturally drawn to. People love the thrill of not knowing exactly what comes next. When you give her attention, she feels wanted, cared for, and appreciated. But when you pull back, you spark a natural curiosity. She wonders, where did he go? What's he up to? This subtle shift in attention triggers a desire to chase something that's just slightly out of reach. It taps into that innate desire to pursue what feels a little elusive, a little harder to get. And that's incredibly powerful. Imagine it like a fun, playful game. She's trying to keep up with you, trying to figure out your next move. When you're consistent in your behavior, yet unpredictable in your actions, you create a magnetic force. This technique isn't about being hot and cold. It's about creating that delicate dance where she feels wanted, but never too comfortable. It's this dance of coming close and pulling away that builds an intense level of attraction. Now, let's pause and consider a Stoic perspective here. Stoicism is about mastering oneself, maintaining control over your emotions, and living a life that aligns with your values and goals. The push and pull technique reflects this Stoic ideal of self-mastery. It's not about being needy or dependent on someone else's attention. It's about having your own life, your own purpose, and showing that you are strong enough to pull back when necessary. Marcus Aurelius, one of the greatest Stoic philosophers, often spoke about the value of remaining grounded in your own purpose and not letting external things, like the pursuit of someone's attention, distract you from your path. When you focus on yourself and your goals, You are not only more attractive, but you also embody the Stoic concept of apatheia, freedom from emotional dependence on external circumstances or people. In this context, you're not playing games for manipulation. You're simply living a full, self-directed life. Let's apply this to the dynamic of seducing a woman. Imagine you're spending time together and you're showing genuine interest. This is the push. You're talking, laughing, maybe even getting a little personal. But then, instead of always being available and constantly at her beck and call, you focus on your own life for a bit. Maybe you leave for a day or two, dive into your passion for a while, or simply make it clear that you have your own priorities. It's not about being cold or distant. It's about showing that your life doesn't revolve around her. When she sees that you have your own ambitions and that your life is full without her, it piques her interest even more. Here's the magic of it. When you give her space, she starts to crave your attention again. She wants to know what you're up to, what's going on in your life. And that, my friend, is where the attraction deepens. The balance between giving and taking away, between showing interest and having your own space, is what creates a magnetic pull that's hard to resist. So the next time you're in a relationship, whether it's just starting or you've known her for a while, think about the push and pull. Give her attention when it's meaningful, but don't forget to pull back when necessary. Keep her guessing just enough to keep the excitement alive. And remember, it's not about manipulation. It's about demonstrating that you have your own life, your own ambitions, and that you're not dependent on anyone else for your happiness. In fact, this self-sufficiency is exactly what makes you more attractive and powerful. As a Stoic, you are the master of your own destiny. You are focused on your own growth, and by maintaining that balance, you make your presence even more magnetic. This technique works because it taps into something much deeper, something that's both human and philosophical. It's about creating a connection that's grounded in respect, balance, and the strength of being fully yourself, without needing anyone to complete you. All right, before we jump back in, if you're finding this helpful, hit that like button. It helps YouTube share this with more men who need it, and it keeps the content coming. It's quick, free, and it makes a real difference. Thanks. Let's get back to it. 5. Create a triangle of desire. All right, let's dive into a fascinating concept, the triangle of desire. This isn't just some random dating trick. It's a psychological principle that can have a powerful impact on how you're perceived, especially when it comes to seducing a woman. It's all about the magnetic force that gets created when other people admire or desire you. You've probably seen it happen with new gadgets, trends, or even famous people. The moment something is popular, suddenly, everyone wants in. So what does that mean for you? Well, here's the key. When she sees that other people value you, admire you, or even desire you, it instantly raises your value in her eyes. This isn't about playing games to make her jealous or insecure. It's about subtly communicating that you are someone who is genuinely appreciated and admired by others. It's about showing that you are not just someone who exists solely for her attention. You are someone who is well regarded by your friends, your colleagues, or the people around you. Now, don't go overboard with this. It's not about bragging or making her feel like you're out of her league. It's more about sprinkling subtle hints that let her see you through the eyes of others. For example, maybe you mention how your coworkers love your sense of humor, or how your friends are always asking you to hang out because you bring a certain energy to the group. These little cues are like whispers that tell her, "Hey, I'm someone who's respected and appreciated by the people around me." It's important to note that you're not directly telling her, "Hey, look, everyone loves me." Instead, you're letting her observe it for herself. You're not looking for her to feel threatened by your popularity. On the contrary, you're letting her see that being with you means she's with someone who is genuinely admired, and that makes her feel lucky to have you in her life. Imagine this. Let's say you're spending time with her, and casually, you mention how your colleagues just threw a little surprise birthday celebration for you at work. Maybe you talk about how you're the go-to person in your friend group when someone needs advice or support. Now, you're not actively trying to make her feel jealous or insecure. Instead, you're just letting her see that you have a life beyond her, and that life is full of people who value you. In doing this, you're creating a triangle of desire: you, her, and the people who admire you. Here's where the Stoic mindset comes into play. Stoicism teaches us to remain grounded in our own self-worth and not be swayed by external validation. The truth is, your value is not dependent on anyone's approval. It comes from within. However, the reality of human nature is that people are often drawn to what others value. When you live your life in alignment with your purpose and values, the respect and admiration of others will follow naturally. From a Stoic perspective, you're living as a virtue, not needing validation to feel worthy. Your worth is based on your character, your actions, and your growth. You don't have to seek external approval to feel good about who you are. This is the beauty of Stoicism. You are not desperate for validation, but at the same time you understand that people will naturally be drawn to someone who is self-assured, grounded, and admired by others. When it comes to seducing a woman, this doesn't mean you need to actively seek the approval of everyone around you just for the sake of attraction. What you're doing instead is allowing your life, your confidence, and your inner circle to reflect the qualities that make you attractive: kindness, integrity, and self-sufficiency. Imagine you're hanging out with her, and as you're chatting, you casually mention how your friends admire your ability to stay calm and collected, even when things are tough. Maybe you're talking about how your work colleagues respect your focus and drive. These are not things you're boasting about. They're just reflections of your life and your relationships. You're not actively trying to raise your status. Instead, you're letting her see that others already value you. And that makes her realize she's with someone who is not just interesting to her, but also to the people around him. That's what makes her want to be a part of that world. The beauty of the triangle of desire is that it's not a manipulation. It's a natural result of living a life of purpose and self-respect. When you are valued by others, she will recognize that value, and the attraction will only deepen. So, the next time you're in a conversation with her, remember to let your life speak for itself. Let her see that you are someone who is admired by those around you, not because you're seeking attention, but because you are living a life of purpose and value. This, my friend, is how you create a triangle of desire, where you, her, and the people who admire you come together to create a connection that feels both exciting and grounded in genuine admiration. It's not about bragging. It's about being the kind of person who doesn't need to brag, because your life, your actions, and your presence already speak volumes. And trust me, when you can show that through the triangle of desire, you'll have her more interested than ever before. 6. Make her feel like she's the only one. Let's talk about something that's both simple and incredibly powerful: making her feel like she's the only one in your world. Now, this isn't about saying a bunch of sweet things just to impress her. It's about showing her, through your actions, that when you're together, she truly has your full attention. You know how we all feel that rush when someone really sees us? Like when you have an intense conversation with a close friend, and you can tell they're really listening, not distracted by their phone or looking around the room. That's exactly the feeling you want to create with her. When you give her your undivided attention, it's not just about being polite or courteous. It's about prioritizing her in that moment. Think about it. In today's world, we're constantly multitasking. We're checking our phones, thinking about work, worrying about our to-do lists. But when you set all that aside and focus entirely on her, she knows she's important to you. It's a feeling that says, right now, nothing else matters except you. Imagine the next time you're sitting with her, having a conversation, you deliberately put your phone down. You look her in the eyes, really listen to what she's saying, and engage with her thoughts and feelings. It's not about rushing through the conversation. It's about slowing down and being present. In these moments, it's like you're showing her that she's the star in your world, even if it's just for an hour or two. And let me tell you, this goes a long way. You know how powerful it feels when someone notices the little things about you? Like how they remember your favorite song, or your weird obsession with a particular type of food? It's the same thing with her. When you're truly paying attention, it shows her that you care. The way she wears a certain perfume, the way she brushes her hair, the little quirks in her laugh. These things matter. Not because you're trying to get something from her, but because you're genuinely seeing her. There's a phrase in Stoicism that says, "The best way to predict the future is to create it." When you create moments where she feels like the most important person in the room, you're not only building the bond between you, but also shaping the future of your connection. This is the essence of the Stoic approach to relationships, being present in the moment and acting in accordance with your values. And here's the beauty of it. When you give her that kind of attention, it's a reflection of your own inner confidence. You're not seeking validation by being overly attentive. Instead, you're simply choosing to be present, choosing to be connected, and choosing to prioritize what matters most. Now let's take this into the context of seduction, specifically seducing a woman. Imagine you're out for dinner or a simple walk together. In that moment, she's not looking for grand gestures or over-the-top declarations. What she really wants is for you to make her feel seen, heard, and valued. This doesn't mean you should lose your sense of self or turn into someone you're not. Rather, it means you're elevating the experience by showing that she is a priority in your life. Let me paint a picture for you. You're sitting together enjoying a quiet moment. As she talks about something that matters to her, you stop scrolling through your phone or checking the time. Instead, you look at her, really listening, engaging, and connecting. You might notice how the corners of her eyes crinkle when she smiles, or how her voice softens when she's telling a story she cares about. These aren't just details. They're opportunities to show her you're not just in the room with her, but you're truly with her. And trust me, that's the kind of connection that sticks. From a Stoic perspective, this practice ties into the idea of mindfulness and presence. Stoics believe in focusing on the here and now, accepting what is, and taking deliberate actions in line with virtue. Being present and giving her your undivided attention is not only a way to show affection, it's a way of living in alignment with those Stoic principles. You're not distracted by the external noise of life. Instead, you're focused on what truly matters, the connection you're building with her, and the deeper bond you're creating together. When you make her feel like she's the only one, you're not just making her feel good in the moment. You're building something real and lasting. You're showing that your attention is earned and not freely given to anyone. And let me tell you, that's the kind of attraction that will keep her coming back for more. Because when a woman feels truly valued and heard, she's going to feel an undeniable pull toward you. The key here is consistency. It's not about just doing this once or twice to impress her. It's about making her feel that way every time you're together. Because when she knows she's the priority, when she feels like she's the only one in your world at that moment, the connection deepens and the bond strengthens. That's how you create a lasting impression. And that's how you make her not just attracted to you, but invested in building something real with you. 7. Use mirroring and matching. Let's dive into something that's subtle but incredibly effective: mirroring and matching. Now, I'm sure you've heard people talk about body language and how important it is in relationships. But mirroring and matching are not just about reading someone's body language. It's about connecting with them on a deeper level. It's like a dance, where you're in sync with each other without even realizing it. And believe me, it works wonders, especially when you're trying to seduce a woman. Here's the deal. When you mirror or match someone's movements, tone, or even the way they speak, you make them feel more comfortable with you. It's like saying, "Hey, I'm on your wavelength. We get each other." Ever had a conversation with someone who seemed so in tune with you that it felt almost effortless? That wasn't coincidence. That was probably mirroring in action. Take this simple scenario. You're sitting across from her, maybe over coffee or at dinner, and she leans forward slightly when she speaks. You don't need to make a huge move, but if you lean forward too, it shows that you're engaged and interested. It's subtle, but it sends a message. I'm with you. It's like you're both on the same emotional wavelength, almost like a shared rhythm in a song. When you do this, it signals that you're in tune with her, and that makes her feel seen and heard in a way that goes beyond words. It's not just about body language, though. You can match her speech as well. Notice the way she talks. Does she speak calmly? Or is she a bit more animated? If she's speaking slowly with a deliberate pace, you don't need to rush in with fast-paced chatter. Instead, adjust your tone, your speed, and match hers. It's like you're speaking the same language, not just in words, but in rhythm. This creates a sense of harmony, and before you know it, the conversation flows effortlessly, and you're both in sync. Here's a quick story to illustrate this. I once went on a date where the conversation was flowing beautifully. The girl I was with had this smooth, calm way of speaking. She didn't rush through her words. I realized that instead of getting too excited and speeding up, I slowed myself down to match her pace. I could tell she appreciated it. She leaned in a little more, smiled more often, and the whole evening felt like we were almost reading each other's minds. It wasn't a gimmick. It was just the natural effect of matching our energy. She was more comfortable, and so was I. And that, my friend, is how attraction works on a deeper level. Now you might be wondering, how does this relate to seducing a woman specifically? Well, women are great at reading nonverbal cues, and they tend to notice when someone is genuinely paying attention to them. Mirroring is a way of showing that you're not just listening to her words, but also feeling her energy. It's almost like you're saying, "I'm with you," not just in the conversation, but on a deeper, more intuitive level. But here's the thing, don't overdo it. It's about subtlety. If you start copying her every move exactly, it's going to come off as forced, and that's a turnoff. The key is to keep it natural. If she shifts in her seat, you might do the same, but don't make it obvious. If she touches her hair, maybe run your hand through yours. If she smiles, you smile back. But it shouldn't feel like you're trying to be her. You're syncing with her, not copying her. From a Stoic perspective, this ties into the idea of understanding and connecting with others. The Stoics, particularly Marcus Aurelius, spoke about the importance of seeing others clearly, not through the lens of our own desires or projections. By mirroring someone's body language, you're not just reflecting them, you're understanding them more deeply. You're able to attune yourself to the way they feel, rather than imposing your own energy or expectations onto them. This is a form of self-awareness and presence, which is a huge part of the Stoic philosophy. In the context of seduction, this also ties into the Stoic principle of acting with intention. Every action you take should align with your deeper values, and showing genuine interest in a woman through mirroring and matching her behavior isn't just about attraction. It's about respect. You're showing her that you're present in the moment, that you're truly engaged, and that you're there for her in a way that's authentic. This kind of genuine connection is attractive in its own right, because it creates a sense of trust and comfort. But here's where it gets interesting. When you match her energy and give her space to be herself, you create this dynamic where she's drawn to you, not because you're trying too hard, but because you're genuinely tuned into her. It's the kind of attraction that builds over time, not based on manipulation, but on respect, understanding, and subtle connection. So next time you're with a woman, pay attention to her body language, her tone, and her energy. Subtly mirror her and watch how the dynamic shifts. It's a small change, but it can make her feel like you're on the same team, which is an incredibly seductive feeling. And remember, it's not about playing a game, it's about creating a connection that feels natural and effortless. That's where the true magic happens. Remember, these techniques are more than just clever tricks. They're powerful tools that, when used with the right mindset, can help build trust and create a genuine, meaningful connection with someone. But let's be clear, the Stoic mindset teaches us that we should always act with integrity and self-control. These techniques aren't about manipulation or seeking power over others. They're about understanding and connecting with another person on a deeper level, respecting their autonomy, and cultivating your own emotional discipline. In the Stoic tradition, it's said that we cannot control others, only ourselves. So while you might use these psychological insights to create attraction, always remember that your ultimate goal is not to control or possess anyone. It's to cultivate mutual respect and authenticity in your relationships. As Marcus Aurelius wisely said, "The best revenge is to be unlike him who performed the injustice." In this context, the best way to seduce or attract someone is not through manipulation, but through understanding, patience, and authenticity. qualities that build strong, enduring connections. Now, before we wrap up, I'd love to hear what you think about the relationship between persuasion, attraction, and Stoicism. Have you tried any of these techniques yourself? Share your thoughts and experiences in the comments, and I promise I'll read every single one. Who knows, I might even feature some of the most insightful ones in a future video. And if you're interested in more honest tips like these, don't forget to hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications. You won't want to miss what's coming next.